Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Adam Ratliff with Adam So Fun, and today we are going to make a project that is available at ProStitcher.com as of the new year. Happy New Year, everyone! It's in a few days, but hey, you know what? We can celebrate a little bit early. Today we're going to make some storage bins. This is going to be a project that is available as of January 1st, 2024 at ProStitcher.com. For any of your systems, you're going to be able to get these designs over there. If you are a member of ProStitcher.com, it is going to be one membership download. If you're not a member, I don't know what the price is, but remember, you can always use ASF10, my affiliate code, like Adam So Fun, ASF10, to save an additional 10% off your purchase. They're going to have some projects coming out over the next year, and I was like, yeah, I'll make them. So we're going to make a storage box, but this box is specifically engineered to fit inside the Ikea Kallax set. In the directions, there is a way for you to convert it, and it tells you how to resize it. So if maybe you have the... all right, I had to find my notes. So if you have like a closet-made system, there is instructions on how to resize it so it will fit that. But basically, we're going to be making a big storage box that fits right into those cubbies. This is a great stash buster. If you have a lot of stash like I used to before I give it away, I could have made a ton of these boxes really quick, really fast. So the instructions are going to tell you, I'm going to do it a little bit different. So I'm just going to, straight out, I'm going to try to do two of them side by side, squished into with the fabric. There is instructions to do two. It says you need 3 yards. I'm going to try to do 2 out of 1 just width. I'm going to see if I can get them to fit and still have overage all the way around so that I can get them cut out and sewn together and everything. It might not work. Who knows? I'll let you know. I'm not going to finish them before this video comes out, but I will definitely post about it on my YouTube or on my Facebook pages and on my social media pages. So if you don't, make sure you follow me on social media, Adam So Fun with an S-E-W on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop or when I go on lives or do any of that stuff. So, oh, I just saw some pins. Let's take those out of there. So this is using a soft and stable, so you have something to keep the structure of the box. So I don't even know where my soft and stable is. I had some Pellon foam that is discolored and has been in the garage and in the basement and cross country 2 times and everything. So I'm just using that. I franken-batted, I cut it apart, put it back together. So I'm going to make one with that. The other one I'm going to try, and I'm just going to try it. Why not? I had this scrap of, what is this? This is Poly Puff. This is Quilter's Dream Poly Puff. It's super puffy. There's not a lot of structure here, so I don't know how it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try one like that. So I'm definitely like doing some weird batting things over here, because why not try out different things to see what works best for us? So I already have my top loaded. Because I am trying to fit them within, basically I'm gonna try to get them all into 40 inches. But, you know, I loaded my quilt top. So if you're using red snappers, probably not going to be able to do this. You need too much overage on your width of fabric. I'm using my zippers today, so I'm able to get really, really close to the edge of my fabric on the top and on the bottom. So I'm thinking that's gonna help me be able to do this. But in the instructions, it's gonna give you a different layout, so you can still do 2 at a time. You're just gonna do it on a longer strip, rather me doing it on a wider strip, basically. It's like I'm using the instructions for 60 inch wide, but we're only gonna do a 45, okay? So I'm gonna show you how I did it and how I did the math and tell you what the math is. But if you're gonna try this, you have to get very, very close. So this is, you have to know what you're gonna do or what you're doing with a long arm if you're gonna try to do it the way I'm gonna do it. When I bring you up here, there is instructions. I will show you the different layouts and things, but just keep in mind, if you're gonna do it just like me, you need to be able to stitch really close to your pins, and you have to use every inch of that width of fabric so everything fits. So there's my little, whatever, your Warning, there's your warning. I'm using connecting threads on the top. This is a wide back. I don't know where it came from. I found it stacked in the closet, so we're using that. I'm going to be using King Tut thread. Just kidding, I'm going to be using Omni V thread, so fine in the bobbin, and I'm using up extra bobbins. It's going to be inside of a storage container. I don't care. The nice thing about these boxes is that you'll get, even if you're never going to make the boxes, you get some edge to edge and some block patterns with it. I will show you some of the patterns that come with the set, but they give you some that you can label and some that you can just edge to edge. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it edge to edge. And then the second one I'm going to do with a label. So maybe we'll split this up. I'll do the edge to edge one 1 month or 1 week and the label one the next week. And between the 2 weeks, I'll get them both done and post those onto my social media. So that's it. So again, they're going to be available as of January 1st. If you are a member of the ProStitcher Club, then it is one membership download. If you're not, you're going to use code ASF10 to save 10% off your purchase. I don't know how much it's going to be. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I'm going to bring you close so you can see what's going on, and we'll get started on this stitch out. Okay, so the first thing I wanted you to notice is how close my foot is to these pins. The zipper tape is probably right between, like, maybe a 1/4 inch from my stitch line, and then stitched down my foam. Like I said, I got it very, very close on purpose. I want it to be super close. I want to be able to stitch this hole with the fabric. The backing is a wide back, so I have a little bit more than 40. I think I have 46 inches or so. So I'm worried about the top. I'm going to cheat very close to my selvages when I stitch this out. So let me zoom out. There we go. All right, so I'm going to be using ProStitcher. So I want to make sure that I'm in regulated cruise, and cruise at 175 is what I like to run ProStitcher. My tension's all good. I turn my lights off so you can see. So that's what's going on here. When you purchase the pattern, curtain. So when you purchase the pattern, you're going to get instructions. So don't feel like you're going to be out there. Got it. I don't even know what that said. Don't feel like you're going to be out there all on your own. You have instructions. And so these are the different ways you can make it. So you'll be able to do an edge to edge with a label, or a blocks or block with a label. And they give you some labels, and they give you the kind of cutaway design so you can make your own labels. It's very nice. So there's some designs. It has all the instructions for you to do whatever you're going to do, how to make it. They're very good instructions, but what I wanted to show you is they have these layouts right here. I'm going to do this layout, but you're supposed to do this with a 60-inch wide fabric. I'm going to try to do it on a 45 or 42 or whatever regular quilting fabric comes in. I'm going to try to fit it in that. It might not work. I'm okay with that, but that's what I'm going to try. I want to waste less. If you wanted to do it 2 at a time, this is going to be the easier one. This is probably going to be the smarter one, but hey, I'm not smart and I like to make things hard. So there's that. The designs, let me clear this off. I was checking some stuff out. File design open. These are the designs it comes with. So you have your block, you have your actual pieces to make the box. You have a blank label. You have one for fat corners, markers, pins, rulers, scraps, snips, templates, threads, UFOs. You have some trim blocks that you can use and put your own words into, and you have some blocks and edge to edge designs. So you get some cool designs with this. I see 5 edge to edge right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 5 edge to edges and a block design. So even if you're just like, ooh, I want those edge to edge designs, one membership download for 5 edge to edge designs. That's not too bad. So I'm going to do an edge to edge, and I think we're just going to do this one. Actually, I want to do something that's faster. We're going to do that one. So we're going to open that, and I just opened it now, so it'll be easier to get to later. It's called rolling, so I'm going to close that. So my first step is I need to open those designs. So I'm going to hit design, and I'm going to hit open. And before I do that, here's my crosshairs, because I was messing around with this. So I was trying to figure out how to make this and do things the easiest, especially for those of you who aren't so familiar with ProStitcher. So I'm going to go File, Design, Open. I'm going to go to wherever I save that design to, and I want to open the KX bin blank body. So this is basically the outside edges of the box, okay? We can see our start point, we can see our stop point, and everything. So this is basically our first pass, because we're gonna have to do a pass here. We're gonna have to advance so we can do our next box that's down here. So our next step is, without moving the machine, do not move your machine. We need our crosshairs to stay right where they are. We're gonna go File, Design, Open, and we wanna open the bin bottom. There we go. And it's going to open like this, depending on what version you are. Mine's going to open like this, because mine opens with the start point at my crosshairs. I need this end point and the start point of this design to line up on each other. So if you followed me at any time in your life, you probably know I love reposition. So what we're going to do, we haven't moved the machine. And the reason for that is when we opened our first design, there is the green X is right at our crosshairs. So the reason we didn't move our machines, we need the red X of the next design in the same spot. So we're going to pick the second design. It's okay, it's out of the screen. That's not a problem. I'm going to go to Modify tab, Reposition, and reposition works by moving the design according to where our crosshairs are. And over on our sidebar, I'm going to hit End Point. I'm going to turn you, no, you can see that. I'm going to hit End Point. And now, if I hit my bottom house refresh down here, can you see that one? I'm trying to see what you can see. There. Bottom house refresh down here. Our design is all lined up. There's one other thing that I want you to do. If you have regular ProStitcher Premium, if you have ProStitcher Lite, you can't do this. You'd have to do this either in Simulator running regular ProStitcher or in ProStitcher Designer. On this second design, not the first one, the second one, I want to swap my starts and ends, because this one starts here and stitches backwards, and I don't like to stitch left from right to left in straight lines. My machine doesn't like that. It usually breaks thread. You'll have much more luck if you swap it. So I'm going to go up to Modify tab, swap in the ribbon. Again, I don't think you have this on ProStitcher Lite unless they've added it. I'm going to hit swap. You'll see that the green circle's now over here, red circle's over here, and super important, it's not going to remember that we swapped that unless we hit the baseline button. So we've hit baseline, we know it read it because it grayed out, and now I have both of these designs ready to go. So there's my first one, there's my second one. The next thing I want to do is I want to combine these together. So I'm just going to come down here, and there's these three arrows. This is select none, select multiple, select all. I'm going to hit select all. It's going to give me a group. And over here, I'm going to tap the top design in my group. Make sure that it's the top design that I want it to stitch. So this is going to say it's going to stitch first. That one say it's going to stitch second. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So now I'm going to hit baseline. What you can't see is under this, if I move this over, there's a jump. So there's our dashed lines. They're hard to see because they're right on top of a line, but there's my jump. So the first one's going to end up here, and then I'm going to have to jump down, and it's going to start down here. I'm okay with that. That's perfect. Now we have our base design set up. My next step is I want to get it ready to stitch two at a time. All right, we're back. I had to go get some water, and now I'm ready to talk to my heart's content. So we have our design. I moved my machine, so I moved my orange crosshairs because I needed to be able to show you that there is a jump there. That's fine. But for my next step, because remember, I want to stitch two of these together. For my next step, I need to move this so that my starting point is back at my crosshairs. We already know that we can move something according to where our crosshairs are. So I'm going to go to my Modify, Reposition in the ribbon, and over here, I'm just going to hit Start Point. And I need the start point to be on my crosshairs for this next step because I'm trying to line this up to get the least amount of waste possible. So now I'm going to go to my Edit tab, and I'm going to hit Duplicate because I want to make I want to make a copy. It says duplicate, but you can't really see it do anything because it's going to put the copy right on top of the one that is already there because my crosshairs haven't moved because everything's lining up. But if I go to my workspace sidebar tab, I can see that I have 2 merged groups, so I know that there's 2. So now what I want to do is I want to flip it and I want to shift it so that they're nested right up against each other. I read the directions. I know what my seam allowances are going to be. So I'm going to go to modify and I want to flip this. So I'm going to go to rotate and I want to hit flip. So now I have the design flipped. And then now I want to say mirror because I want to put, I'm going to hit mirror because I want to put that design right here. I'm trying to get the least amount of waste possible. So you can see one of them is here pointing up. The other one's going to sit up top and point down. So those are my 2 designs. My second design, start points on the right because we did all those editing before, because we flipped and we mirrored it. So on that second one, I want to swap them because I like start points on the left and I want a baseline. So now that should fix that stuff. Where's my jump there though? Oh, it should be under my crosshairs. I did it to the wrong one. Hold on. I think I just selected the wrong one. There we are. No, that's right. There we go. There's a lot of lines on top of each other. I should have done that swap in a minute. So now the next step is I want to shift this down and shift it over so that they can stitch and have just a little bit of seam allowance between the 2. So I'm going to go to reposition. And most of you have used our nudges. Nudges, so fun. It's one of my favorite. I'm going to move. I can move my machine now. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's going to shift it just a little bit. But I know how big the design is, the original design. I looked how tall each block was and did some math. So I'm going to change this nudge to 14.5. Enter. And now that means when I hit down, it's going to move 14.5 inches. And watch what happens. See how it's lined up perfectly right here? Now, these 2 overlap. I don't want that overlap there. So I could either shift this one to the left or this one to the right. And I'm going to shift the top one to the right because of how I loaded the quilt. I need to know where the top one is a little more than the bottom. I can always fix that later. So I'm going to select my top one. I don't want to move it 14.5. That's way too far. Remember, I'm trying to save fabric here. So I'm going to move that back. And we're going to change this because I can see these overhangs over here. We're going to change this to 2.5. And now watch, when I hit 2.5 to the right, it's going to give me a perfect channel between here. And that channel is just enough that I can get my seam allowances taken care of. So now if I go to my resize, I can see that, let's see, we're going to select all. The total of both of these is 55 inches wide. So what is that, a yard and a half? I don't even know, almost 2 yards, maybe less than 2 yards. And if I go to height, it's 40.81. This is where we have to have those extra. We have to get as tight as we can. That's why if you have like a red snapper, probably not going to work. Probably the only way you could really get this is if you base your quilt on and you start really close to the edge, or if you pin those tops on and you get really close to the edge. So let's see. So now that I have both of these selected, I'm going to go to my workspace. I'm going to make sure it's doing the top one first, bottom one second, and I'm just going to work on the top one. So now I'm going to hit baseline. I want these to be frozen in time together, and now I can line them up on my quilt top. We're going to leave you there and say it's okay. So now I have my quilt top. So I did my area, and I'm just going to make a 2-corner. I just need to see where this is going to stitch. So I'm going to come over here, get really close to the side because I'm trying to use as much fabric as I can. Make sure that I have my backing back there, or my stabilizer, or not my stabilizer, my foam. And my foam is about here. I should, before I stitch, I'll run a basting stitch up here. I just don't know why I didn't do it. And that's super close. So I'm just going to move it up from where it was super close and coming right under my basted stitches, because remember, I'm trying to get as close as I can. I'm going to hit 2 corner. And I'm also going to hit modify, reposition, top left. Because top left is going to put this pretty much where I want it, but I just want to make sure things are looking okay. So now I'm going to come to the other side. And I'm going to look at my screen to see how far I need to come over. And then I'm going to come down, and I'll hit 2 corner. And even though I didn't do those 2 corners at exactly the same time, let me see if I can move you up. Even though I didn't do those 2 corners at exactly the same time, you can still see that I still have the design up there. I don't have to worry. I'm not going to be cropping this. Not yet. I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm just looking at placement. So everything looks good so far. I only have foam at the moment under this strip. So I still need to add some here, and I'll do that whenever I advance, because when it stitches this bottom row, I have 2 inches or so up there, so it's going to be okay. And that's all going to be done off camera because it's not something you have to see. You're going to use a regular width of foam, so it works correctly. But because I want to try to do foam here and the poly puff here, I just have to do a few weird things. So this is lined up. So now I'm ready to do my edge to edge. So I'm going to bring you back up close because this is going to be a little weird. All right, so because I want to do my edge to edge, and I'm going to edge to edge and fill this whole box, I'm going to file design open. And I'm only worrying about the top box. And I'm going to do my rolling design. And I want to think about this. So this is one, one box here, one box. So how big do we want to make these? This is a pretty, I do want that, but I want to be able to find that design. This is a pretty big design. This is the true size of that design. It's, the width is 17 and the height is 4. So I don't want it that big. So let's modify, resize. I'm going to keep my lock on, and I'm going to change the height to 2. Oh, it didn't read the lock. Undo. There we are. Now I'll change it to 2. There we go. That looks good. So now I'm just going to go to repeat. I can go to fill. It's going to fill it up. I might wrap this one and just do wrap it by a half. Oh, that looks much better. Let's see. I might increase my gap to spread these rows out a little bit. You'll notice I didn't skew anything. I'm not a big skewer. And a matter of fact, I don't want to skew it because I actually need to go down far enough to get this box down here. So let's go back to basic. Horizontal, I'm going to add some repeats. I want to go outside my box. And vertical, I want to go, that's gap, sorry. I want to repeat those. Oh, I hit fill, so it's going to keep it right there. So let's go to modify, align, top. There we go. And what I did is I said keep it on the top of my area. And you can only do that with an area. And if I zoom in, I can see that we're far enough down. I could probably take 1 row off of this. So I'm going to go to repeat, basic, vertical, take 1 row off, and I'm still getting down far enough. So now my design is done. We're going to baseline this. This is how I want it. So next step, I'm going to go to my area and I'm going to hit clear. And I want to pull up that group design. Now we can see it overlaid. So it's big enough, everything's going to work. But now I need to create an area that's just around the design that I want to stitch in. So we're going to try to do this. I'm going to multi-point area this. Let me see if I zoom out. I'm going to point you over here because that's where we're coming. So I'm coming to the top corner. And I'm going to hit multi-point. I'm a little bit higher than my design and a little bit farther to the left than my design. And since I'm here, I'm just going to come down. And same thing, I'm just outside the lines a little tiny bit, and I'm gonna hit multi-point. And I'm gonna come over, and I'm gonna come over here. And I am going to hit multi-point. Now if I zoom in, you'll be able to see I'm just a little tiny bit outside those lines. That's what I'm looking for. So now I'm gonna move my machine down to here. Oh, I can't move down to there yet. I forgot I can't move down to there yet because we have to advance. I have an idea. So we're gonna move all the way to the right. We're gonna have to tackle this in 2 kind of steps, which is fine. Nothing's wrong with that. All the way to the right, multi-point, come to the top. Multi-point. So let's see what we just did. In my head, I was like, oh yeah, I got this. So these rows are going to stitch out about 12 inches. So what I want to do is I want to stitch this and stitch my edge to edge before I advance. The directions tell you to stitch this, advance, stitch the next part, and then come back and do your edge to edge. I just feel like I want to do everything at one time. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to select my design. I am going to modify. No, I want to save this first. Should I crop it first or save it first? Let's save this first. File, save, selected. And I'm going to save, we'll just put it here. And this could be ASF box. Save. So now I have the file. I know the size, I know all that stuff. So I don't have to redo that. So now I'm gonna modify crop. I wanna crop the outside, I wanna close my edges, and I want a baseline. So that's gonna give me just this top one. Now, if I zoom in here, we'll go close. This bottom row is gonna get cut off halfway, and it only stitches right here. I'm not going to stitch that row. It might show up here, but I only want to stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wanted 6 rows on this, and then I'm going to undo, bring everything back. That's when I could advance, and we'll stitch the bottom part and recrop. So what I want to do first is I want to stitch my boxes. And I'm only going to stitch this first pass, and then I'm going to hit cancel. So I'm going to move you back and stitch this out, and you can watch it if you want, if I remember to not hit stop. There's not very much light. We're gonna turn the lights back on. Perfect. Then the light makes it hard for you to see. So I'm gonna go to ProStitcher, Quilt, make sure all my settings are on the way I like them. I want to go see what my OptiStitch is set at. Perfect. I like acceleration 40, speed is 70, and I'm going to stitch this. I'm going to change this down to 60. There is some right to left stitching and straight lines on this, so this will just make sure it helped me to keep my threads all great and happy. All right, so finish the first row. It says long jump pause. This is when it wants you to advance and do all that. I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna do that yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the X on long jump pause. I'm going to cancel out of this, bring up my bobbin. Trim. And Now I want to select my edge to edge design. So I will come to my workspace, pick my repeat, and now I want to stitch those rows of this that I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna stitch this like a normal edge to edge, ProStitcher, Quilt, Run. It has all my settings. And I'm gonna stitch this and we'll see you when it's done. All right, so everything is stitched, if we look at this, except there's a little bit at the bottom that hasn't. That's gonna stitch, that's that row that got cut off. So let me bring my machine over here. Here we are. Let's look at the screen so we can see what's going on. And you'll see that it says long jump pause. There's one more row to stitch. Let me zoom in so we can see it. There we are. You'll see that there's one more row to stitch. We don't want to stitch that because if we stitch that now, then we're going to have this weird straight line across the bottom piece. It's the bottom piece. It wouldn't really matter, but we don't want that. So we're not going to worry. We're not going to do that. What I want to do is I'm going to hit cancel. That's going to take us out of the stitch mode. Bottom house refresh so we can see everything. I want to hit undo because I want to undo that select, and then I'm going to hit undo. I want to undo the merge, undo the baseline, undo my closed crop, undo my crop. So now we came all the way back to that original design because now we have to drag and drop. Ooh, how are we going to do this? I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. I am going to needle down, drag and drop the design itself, the outline, the base design, I'm going to say, the boxes, and then I'll do non-needle down, drag and drop for the design. I think that's going to be best in this case. I like to do needle down anytime it's something, I'm going to pretend like this is a whole cloth. When it's a whole cloth or something like that, I like to do needle down because I feel like you're going to get better results and more accuracy with the needle down. So I'm going to bring my needle to like, I'll just move the camera so you can see. So I'm going to bring my needle to this position. Oh my gosh, camera set. So I'm going to bring the needle to this position right here, and that's where I'm going to needle down. And now I can hit drag. And this is only going to take, well, I wonder, hold on. Let's select all. Let's see if I can drag it all. I've never done it like this. I've never had two different elements that I needed to drag and drop together. I don't know because they're not baseline together. Will it take it all? Let's find out. So now I'm just gonna, so I hit select all, picked up everything on the screen, and now I'm just gonna advance as normal, like a drag and drop. Bring my ratchets up. Crank my back bar. Not going fast because I have my machine needle down. There we are. Tighten everything up. And hey, it looked like it worked. That saved me a step. I love it. So now we have to go in and let me see. I did that. I'm going to hit drop. I don't have my side clamps on. I forgot to put them on, so it is what it is. I'm okay with that. I hit drop, needle up. There we go. So now we need to crop out this little like L piece. So we're just going to create an area around it. So let me go make that area really quick. Area tab. And you know how to create an area, so I'm not worried that you see this. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to multi-point area. Oh, I got to clear my area first. Oops. Things we all do. I always love when I do like make a mistake or something, especially when I'm in the middle of a video or maybe I'm teaching or doing something, because we all do it. So don't think that like, oh man, you're making mistakes or you did something. It's okay. It's like I always say, it's just a quilt. And if someone's pretending like they're amazing and they don't make any mistakes, then that's not nice. Because everybody's doing it. So one thing I want you to be aware of, when you do this, it's kind of like cropping the last row. Very important that when I come in here, I want to crop into the row that I didn't stitch. So this is, or into the row I did stitch. So I stitched this row already. I want part of that row. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to deselect everything. So I'm going to go to my select tool and select off of everything. Workspace, I can get my group. There's my repeat. This is the one I want to crop. So modify crop. I want to crop the outside and I want to close the edges. Perfect. And what do we always do after a crop that's super important? Baseline. Now I don't want to stitch this top row because that's already been stitched. I don't need that again. So I'm going to go to my ProStitcher tab, new start end. And when I stitch this one, I'm going to come down and I'm going to start on row 2. So it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows to do. These will be very fast because they're not a full row. The whole thing, because these are only the top pieces. So that's done. But we still have to stitch the bottom part of this. So let's do that first. So I'm on my ProStitcher. I'm on new start end because even with this design, we don't want the original start point. We don't want it to start at 0 because that's the part that did the top. So I'm going to go to my umps. I have umps down here. You might have umps or jumps or ump. I have ump. I don't even have the S. That just means jumps. I'm going to hit down arrow once and I want to make sure that number moves. Because if I'm going to watch this green dot right here. Let me zoom into it. Watch the green dot. It didn't move, but my number here moves. So right now I'm at 0. I'm at the very beginning. When I hit jump down, I'm at 250. This didn't move, but that tells me that there's 2 start points right on top of each other. And we know that there's 2 start points on top of each other because we put them there. I want to make sure I can stitch all that. And let's stitch this out really quick. Okay, so let's have a chat really quick. So I was just going to stitch this out and the start point was not in the right spot. And then I started checking it, and because I stitched the edge to edge before I stitched all of the base outline stuff, I had some draw in. I think part of that is because I'm using the soft and stable, and the other part is the soft and stable isn't actually big enough for this. I'm missing like 1.5 inches on one side. Whatever, it's going to be the back of the box. But I had some draw up, so I ended up having to resize the bottom portion of this to shrink in to be as big as what the top is now with the shrinkage. So stitch all your outlines first. Stitch the top, advance, you could do needle down, whatever, advance. Stitch the bottom, which is the next piece I'm going to do, not that, but this piece. You start end, jump, this zzz, so you have all of your boxes, and then put your fills in there. You're going to have a better time. You're going to have an easier time. That's why I do this stuff, so I can figure out what I would do and then realize what I would do isn't going to work that great. So don't do it that way. But once you have it all stitched out, you could advance back to the top. Set up your edge to edge just like we did. So I'm kind of going out of order. Set up your edge to edge and then stitch that. When that one's done, undo all of your baselines and stuff, get your whole design back, needle down, advance, set your new area like we did, and stitch that part out. So I'm going to stitch the bottom, and then I'm going to stitch out this, and then we're going to be done. All right, everyone, so the first one is stitched. We will put a picture here. And I know the video is getting long, so we are going to wait a week, and then I will be putting these together where I go and I actually turn it into a box. I'm also going to go and I'm going to stitch the other one out. So when I do box them and we come back for the next video, I'll be able to show you the difference between using a soft and stable kind of like batting, or maybe like a double layer of poly or poly puff or something, just so you can see how those sit different. Again, remember, these are for the Kallax storage systems from Ikea. There's also a closet mate version. In the instructions, it tells you how to resize them to make them fit. It goes really fast. Remember, we're going to open up the top, Open up the bottom, reposition end point. If you have a ProStitcher Premium, you're going to swap the start and ends and baseline those in there. And then you're going to stitch that out. And then you're going to set up your edge to edge to just stitch inside those boxes. So it looks like this. And there you have it. It's super fast to stitch out, a super fast project. I'll also let you know if I can fit them both in. Again, follow me on social media, Adam's So Fun with an SEW, so you can see the pictures of these before they actually come out in the video. And you're always getting some tips and tricks. I do lives every week and stuff. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop. And Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful 2024. See you in the next one.